Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. Welcome to my very impromptu um, podcast live. There's probably going to be me and one other person in the chat. But anyway, that is fine. That is absolutely fine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you all? Happy Tuesday. Yesterday, I think today is Tuesday. Hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are. I know some of our squatties are out there on the left coast and in California. And I just sending you all my love. I know it's been a rough few days, especially over the weekend and yesterday. It's been a rough few days dealing with the hurricane and the earthquake and some fire in Santa Barbara area. It's just been everything, and also flooding. So it's just like, goodness grievances. Everything is happening in California, and also our squatties out there in Canada. I know Vancouver, I think it is, where there is a raging fire going on out there right now. Wildfire, houses, acres and acres and acres of land that is just being burned, and it's just craziness all over right now. No matter where you are, you're affected by something. And so those of us who are at this moment not affected by anything, we just need to be praying for all of our friends who are in these places, and just be grateful that we are not affected at this moment, because as we know, anything can happen at any time. And to all of our friends in Maui and all around who are also suffering the effects of really horrid wildfires and all the other stuff that's going on. So my prayers are with you guys. It is a very difficult time, but other than that, I hope you guys are all right. Hope your families are all safe and everything. So here in New York is great. It actually, I just was outside a few minutes ago, and it was actually kind of chilly. I was like, oh, we have gotten to that period, and which I love. I love the cooler weather. I am not a hot weather person because I can't breathe in the hot weather. So I love this kind of temperature. And so, yeah, we are getting into fall in August, it seems. Hey, I am not complaining at all. So anyway, so all is well on this end, and I'm hoping it is with you as well. So hello to all of my friends, my few friends who have joined us in the chat. H9. Oh, wait, here we go. H9, how are you doing? Thank you so much. You've been a member for 15 months. Oh my goodness. Thank you for all of your support. It is amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's like hi everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you, H9. Maureen is here. Hello, Maureen and Alma and Sonia and Maverick. Says another live. I can't believe it. Oh, you got too. Yes. Even though it was an impromptu one. So I am happy you're here, Maverick. Andrea is here, and Lady Shandy Love, and Mara is here. Hello, guys. Renika. Renika. Have I seen you here before, Renika? Huh, not sure. But welcome, if just in case. Mama Jane is here. Let's see. Sandra is here. Norma is here. V Brame. Hello. Have I seen you here before, V? Am I just, my brain has not been functioning well lately. So if you've been here and I've said hi to you before and I just can't remember, just go with it. Just know that Petal's mind isn't here. Not here. It is not functioning well at the moment. Lack of sleep. So there you go. I'm blaming lack of sleep, which it is, but let's see. Hey, Wendy Loman, how are you? Good afternoon. Sonia is here. Let's see. Wait, so there's only Maverick. I think you're on the West Coast, right? So it's not here. It's just a few drops of rain and a tiny tremble. Oh, okay. So you just got a few drops, and well, good. I'm glad where you are out there in California. It's just a little bit of rain and a little tremble. I'm like, I love the earth to stay still. So oh my goodness, earthquakes are not it's not anybody's friend, but I am like, oh, every time I think of like, I'm going to move to California, then I think, yeah, the earth moves over there too much. I'm like, you know what? Let me stay in New York. I mean, not that, we don't have earthquakes here. I think since I've been here, it's probably, I think, two or three. And that's been over years and years and years. But it's just more prevalent out there in California. Let's see. Lakiva is here. Emma Day. Karen Warner. Hello, Karen Warner. How are you doing, my dear? Karen graced us with her wonderful Invictus photos. Betty is here. Ruth C is here. It's like, help panel and squatties. Pray for all the squatties affected by the fires and flooding. Thank you so much for the podcast and for relationship building. Here, Ruth C. Here. Absolutely. Lady T is here. Oh, we have Ruth C and we have Lady T. Hello. Nash is here and Kanita. Hello, guys. And Maureen, and we'll just say hello to everyone else as they come in. Hopefully, more of our friends here. Oh, hey, Black Queen, our awesome moderator is here as well. Hello. And Nash is here. Hello. But yeah. We'll say hello to everyone else as we go along. So, what is going on in the world of our faves, Harry and Meghan? Not a whole lot that we know of. I'm sure a lot is going on behind the scenes, and they are under their tree, they are under their tree doing whatever it is that they are working on, and we will find out later. I'm sure they are also preparing for Invictus, which is coming up next month. The 9th of next month is the opening ceremony. And so we are just, I'm sure that they are preparing for that and excited about that. And we're all excited and we're preparing for that as well. So that's wonderful. So, yeah. And of course, we remember this beautiful photo. I was like, I love this photo. Someone posted it on Twitter. I was like, oh, I love this photo. And we know that this photo is one of their last engagements when in 2020, when they were doing the last few engagements in March, when they went back to just finish it up and end their time there as senior quote unquote working royals. When you hear working royals, you're like, they don't do no work, but those over there at Shutter Island. So this is the time when they are ending their time with the firm and moving to another continent over here. And so, but that dress is so iconic. But this was such an amazing event. And you can see the tears, it's like welling up in Harry's eyes. They were just there's a video of Harry and Meghan holding hands through this. And it's like the hands were telling you the whole story of how they were feeling about that moment. Because this is what I think one of the patronages that they basically took away from Harry. And so these were all, people from the military and stuff that were there. So it is just like, it was very, very much an emotional evening for them. And so, but, Harry is fine. He's got Invictus. And obviously, those on Shutter Island would love to take Invictus, but they can't. They cannot. So it is wonderful to see. It's so funny because I saw V, who did the event with Harry for the Diana Awards. She actually is going to college in California. So she posted that she just moved to LA like a few days ago. And poor girl, she got to LA and all of a sudden there's a hurricane. So hopefully, I'm sure she's fine. If it wasn't too freaky for her to be there. And then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, it's like hurricane banging on her apartment. But she showed off her beautiful apartment that she's moving into all by herself. She's a grown woman now. And so she is doing, I think, her PhD, in a college out there in Los Angeles. So it's wonderful. And I think it's funny because Harry is now out there, he's in Santa Barbara, but, and the Diana Awards was held in LA for the first time. It's the first time it's been out of the UK. So I'm like, and now V is moving. I'm like, but, Harry's, all his charity stuff, are they going to be, West Coast America, so who knows? Don't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if I heard that, Invictus headquarters and all their people have, move to LA or Santa Barbara or somewhere in between, wouldn't be surprised at all. At least he'll get everything here, because those on Shutter Island are just drooling over taking away Invictus, like if they can. If they could, they would have done that. But I mean, obviously, Invictus it's an own independent thing that Harry created, so they can't. So, but it is very interesting to watch them do all these maneuvers, and we're like, no, you cannot. But it is very cool. But we're all excited. We're looking forward to Invictus. Um, Mindana Dayani. It's so funny. In a lot of ways, when you see her and Meghan together, they could totally be sisters. They could totally be sisters. Not, their hair, the facial structure, the body type, everything. They're like two sisters. And of course, we remember Mandana was also in the Harry and Meghan docuseries when she was wondering, she's like, what is a royal expert? I was like, yeah, right. She couldn't. She's like, can anybody decide that they're a royal expert? Yeah. And then she was wondering why they're always referred, like the tabloids are always referring to Jason Knopf as Harry and Meghan's, like he used to work with Harry and Meghan. Meanwhile, Jason Knopf was literally working with Prince William. He started out with Prince William, and after Harry and Meghan left, instead of referring to him as, Prince William's private secretary or whatever he was doing for William, they were still referring to him as, Harry and Meghan's I'm sorry, not private secretary, but communications guy, comm secretary. They were still referring to them, Jason Knopf, just so that they don't link him leaking Meghan's information to the courts. They don't want that link to Prince William, even though it's Prince William that gave that permission for him to do it. They still wanted to just link him to as being Harry and Meghan comm secretary. So in the docuseries, the Harry and Meghan docuseries, she was wondering, like, why are they still doing that? Why don't they say that is Prince William's person? And Meghan was like, yeah, your brother. I'm not going to say anything about your brother, but it's very obvious. See, I've watched this so many times, like I can literally quote that thing. That is a little scary. I could quote that. But yeah, so Mindana Dayani, MSNBC did an interview with her because she started this, even while she was with Archewell. She in 2021, when Meghan was pregnant, they hired Mindana to come in and be the president of Archewell. So, Meghan could go through her pregnancy, and then they went through, their leave and all of that stuff. And so they brought on Mindana to basically run Archewell as its president until they are able to take over after, baby Lily was of age where Meghan felt like she can, go off and her and Harry could run Archewell, which they're doing right now. So Mindana was the president for Archewell for a while. And actually, she popped up in like 3 different places, I think, in that docuseries. When Meghan won the case, Mindana was one of the people that called her. And when she was on the couch, and when she got word that she won the case against the Daily Mail. But anyways, so Mindana did this interview, and it was so great because she is the founder of I Am a Voter, where they basically advocate and sign up for people to vote. They just they're doing all different kind of things to really especially get the young people who are not engaged to be fully engaged in the what's going on right now in politics, and also to be engaged in voting as well. So she started I Am a Voter, and so they were basically she was talking about all the different areas, areas that she worked in, and also including starting I Am a Voter. And actually, her and Farah, who used to work with Archewell as well, they both are, I think it's Farah, that are both are part of I Am a Voter. And then so they also asked her, I think it was like part of a women's like seminar thing, I guess it was. And so she was talking about all the different areas that she's worked. Like, she is a lawyer, but she also worked in fashion design. She also worked for non-profit, like with her president of Archewell. She's worked as an agent. So she's worked at all of these different careers, you could say. And the whole point of it was she didn't feel like she needed to basically stick to one thing, like she can go into any of these areas and be able to work. But then when, it's like going into them, she also went in with a sense of like imposter syndrome, because like, oh my gosh, what if I don't know what to do and all of that stuff. So this is a little bit of what she said about going into all these different fields, and how she made it work and how she was successful, what helped her to be successful at some of them. So I'm just going to move my little brand there, and so that way I can read that thing. And yeah, there we go. And so it says, Mindana Dayani, founder of I Am a Voter, which has pivoted from law to fashion to entertainment to tech, non-for-profit work, podcasting, and now activism. She shares what she has learned along the way. This is my girl, because I love that. She's gone to all of these different areas. Before launching the nonpartisan voting organization in 2018, Dayani began her career as a corporate attorney. She then worked as a talent agent, a vice president of fashion designer Rachel Zoe's Fashion Empire, chief brand officer at Everything But the House, and most recently, president of Archwell Inc., the media and philanthropic company founded by Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Dayani is the first to admit that each time she dove into a new field, she had a very little experience or expertise. But that didn't stop her. And she says, I quickly learned that if I applied common sense, worked hard, and led with passion, there was nothing I couldn't figure out. Dayani told Know Your Value, which is the conference I think that they were doing. I also learned that if I waited until I knew everything I needed to start something, which we tend to do as women, I probably wouldn't have started any of the things that ultimately became the most rewarding experience of my life. And I absolutely love that, because when I read that, and this is really why I'm sharing it too, this is totally me with everything. And I totally understand and can relate to exactly what she's saying, because all the things that I've started in my life, including teaching and everything else, I started it with very little experience or expertise at any of it. And I basically learned on the job, including doing this podcast. Everything I learned, I literally learned here. And so I so relate to all of this. I think it's amazing advice to some of us, especially, if we are in the let me learn every single thing about something before I started. This is a great example. She is an absolutely great example of someone who just jumps in. Okay, this is fantastic. Let me, it's something new, a new area. I can learn it. I can do it. And she jumped in and has been so successful at all of these things that she's done. And I totally can relate. And so when I read it, I was like, I want to share that with everyone, to inspire us, because she is amazing at what she's doing. And oh my goodness, Duchess of Success is here. Hi, Ann. How are you? Thank you so much for your donation. Aw, thank you, my dear. I am so happy to have you on our podcast. Hello. Duchess of Success. She is traveling around the world. She is a world traveler. And so if you have not checked out her podcast, I'm always listening to Ann's podcast. And it's so funny, Ann, you said the other day, like, I think it was someone actually made a comment that they always get sad when you end your podcast. And I was sitting there, I was like, oh my gosh, I totally know how she feels. And I think a lot of it has to do with your accent too. I love your voice. And whenever you say, like, this, that's all I have. And I was like, no, but I want to hear more. And I was like, she's like, my cat is crying or something like that. And I was like, come on, I want to hear more. So I was totally laughing when you had posted, you put that, I got that comment there, and I was like, yep, I totally know how she feels. So as Anne go traveling around the world, if you have not checked out her podcast, check it out. It's Duchess of Success. Just put in Duchess of Success. Oh shoot, and I should have gotten the link to Duchess of Success. Next time I'll have it. But just punch in Duchess of Success and you'll find her wonderful, absolutely wonderful podcast. And that music in the beginning is amazing. I'm always like dancing to it. So thank you so much for coming over and hanging with us, my dear. But yes, so I always love it when her or Baron come by. um, but but yeah, so definitely I'm going to put the link to the entire article, and there's also a little video of it as well, so you can actually hear her hear it for yourself. So it is just, for me, great advice for anyone who struggle with imposter syndrome, or if like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do something, and you really really want to do it, but you just don't have the expertise or the experience or whatever. I'm of the mindset, which is how I've always functioned in the world: jump in and learn as you go. Just know you're gonna make a lot of mistakes, and as she says, make mistakes fast, and then just do the switch, just turn it around fast, And so, which is for me, just jump in. You're gonna make mistakes, and just do it. And it's an amazing thing. So I was just very excited when I read that. So yes. So again, I'm going to put the link in the show notes so that you can get a little bit more of Miss Mindana Dayani. And the last time I saw her, she was with Meghan. They were advocating for the women of Iran. If you don't know, a little bit of her background is that she was born in Iran, and her parents were refugees, actually, during, I think, the Iran-Iraq war, and they escaped to the U.S. and they were they were refugees, and they got here. And she always talks about how grateful she is for the opportunity that her family were able to come here to safety, and for her to be able to do the things that she's able to do now. So she very much advocates for refugees now. They're all over, really, from all over the world. And so she's an amazing woman, just living in gratitude for what she's been given and just giving back. So yeah, absolutely a wonderful interview with her. What else is happening? Ving is happening, the Ving Project. And every time you check in on them, we know that this was a part of Meghan when she was doing archetypes. She had donated $1 million to Ving. And so to be a part, have teenagers be a part of learning or be experiencing philanthropy, where they get to write in or vote in someone in their community who they think could use $1,000 as a mom, a woman in their community, a mom or whatever, who can use this, that they may be having financial insecurities and whatever. And actually, I've seen some single dads were able to get awarded this $1,000. And so it's so wonderful. The teenagers, they make little videos about the person that they're advocating for, and then when they take the check to them, they make little videos, and it's so great to see the look and just the joy on their faces, and that they're experiencing the joy of giving. And so it is just wonderful. So that's there. If you read Harry and Meghan's tax, their public tax forms or their tax return stuff that they post, it's on their website right now. You see the Ving Project, that's part of it, that Meghan donated $1 million to them. So they're giving out those $1,000 checks. So it is just really, it's wonderful. All the things, in spite of all the negative stuff they've said about archetypes, the incredible organizations that Meghan teamed up with as part of archetypes, that it wasn't just a podcast. There was a lot of thought into how they can use the podcast to benefit others, including just the men's group that they were also a part of, really helping young boys to advocate and learn to be advocates for women as well. So it's really, it was sad that ended the way it ended, but a lot of good came out of archetypes, and this was one of them. So they are great. And not even anything to do with our faves, although, Kamala loves Meghan. She's tweet about her all the time. But today is their anniversary. And I was like, oh, I just love these two. This is for those of you who don't know, this is our Vice President Kamala Harris and her husband, second gentleman, Doug Emhoff. So today is their anniversary, so they're love tweeting each other. They do that all the time, and it's just so wonderful. It's like, oh, I love these two. I absolutely love these two. And so the VP Harris says, the love of my life and the best partner I could ask for. Happy anniversary at Second Gentleman. And Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff tweeted, happy anniversary, honey. 9 years later, and I love you more every day. You and me together forever. And it's like, oh. So everybody have the going on Twitter right now under their post. It just is really, I just love them. I absolutely they're really, as Maggie said, they're really, really sweet. And you just can't help, you can feel the love, and he has, 2 kids? They call her Mamala. So they're just like, that's their mom. So it's like, instead of Kamala, it's Mamala. So she's a pot mommy. And they all seem to have such a great relationship, including they have a great relationship with his ex-wife as well, who is, she was actually at the inauguration and all of that stuff as well, who is the 2 kids, Doug Emhoff, 2 kids' mother. So they all, like their extended family, they're very close and very loving. So it's really wonderful to see the relationships that they have. And you could tell by their relationship, they just bring everybody into their love circle, it seems. And so, and he was like, happy anniversary, VP Harris and hubby. Yeah, I know. It's just so sweet. Very, very, very sweet. Yes, love is good. Love sure is good. So wonderful, wonderful for them. Happy anniversary. Whatever they're doing today. And then we go from that sweet, wonderful happy anniversary to this. But actually, this is a good thing. So maybe there's going to be something coming out of it, hopefully, And so this popped up on Twitter earlier today from The Guardian. It says the UK cannot ignore calls for slavery reparations, says leading UN judge. So you go. Exclusive, Patrick Robinson, you can see in the picture, says reparations for transatlantic slavery is required by history and required by law. And we know how... hang on one second. I just literally ripped off my headset. It's like, ouch. And I was going to say, and we know how the UK especially have been not wanting to deal with anything that has anything to do with reparations. They don't want to apologize. They don't even want to say, I am sorry for it, because then that will mean that, they are responsible and then they will have to pay. They don't want to say it. They are talking around this in every conceivable way, other than apologizing and making restitutions for the crimes they've committed. So this is some of what the article says. These are some clippings from the article. It says, a leading judge at the International Court of Justice has said the UK will no longer be able to ignore the growing calls for reparations for transatlantic slavery. Judge Patrick Robinson, who presided over the trial of former Yugoslav President Slobodan Milosevic, said that the international tide of slavery reparations the international tide on slavery reparations was quickly shifting, and urged the UK to change its current position on the issue. And another part, it says, this cannot continue, they're ignoring it. They cannot continue to ignore the greatest atrocity, signifying signifying man's humanity to man. They cannot continue to ignore it. Reparations have been paid for other wrongs, and obviously far more quickly, far more speedily than reparations for what I consider the greatest atrocity and crime in the history of mankind, transatlantic chattel slavery. Robinson said, I believe that the United Kingdom will not be able to resist this movement towards payment of reparations. It is required by history and it is required by law. Robinson spoke exclusively to The Guardian ahead of the UNESCO Day for the Remembering of Transatlantic Slave Trade and Abolition. He is scheduled to make a keynote address on Wednesday at the London Mayor's office to mark the day. So they are definitely going after the UK. Again, the UK they have done everything in their power to not apologize or even to talk about reparations. They want nothing to do with it. We know back in the day what they did. Instead of paying reparations to the people who they enslaved, they pay reparations to the enslavers. Loss of wages, I guess, loss of people working for them, loss of slaves working for them, or enslaved people, I should say, working for them. So they paid those people, but the people that were enslaved, nothing. They paid nothing. And so, again, we have known in so many ways that they have wanted nothing to do with reparations. They have wanted nothing to do with apology, nothing. They just want to bury their hands in the sand and pretend it didn't happen, and then, gaslight everyone into like, anytime someone brings it up, is that they're just trying to stay in the past. Why can't we move forward? Oh, you're just pulling the race card. Every single way they can gaslight people who bring this up, they have been doing it. So I'm glad. I don't know what, if this court, this UN, the UN court can, I don't know how much pull they have in the UK that could force the UK to do it. I don't know. Or are they relying on, as he said, the tide turning, where more and more and more countries will no longer accept inaction from the UK? They will no longer accept any kind of relationship. They will literally cut ties and take them to, court or whatever it is to demand payment. And so, we've been talking about this ad nauseum, what the UK need to do. And obviously they are just like, no, we're not going to do. Was it Gordon Brown or one of them went to Antigua, and they were there at this meeting to be like, no, we need to talk about reparation. He told them blank to his face, no, we're not going to do that. That is not in our best interest. We're not going to do that. And so it just, so hopefully, as maybe this is what this judge is, Patrick Robinson is hoping that as more and more people cut ties with the UK, more and more people make demands, they cannot ignore, they cannot keep their head buried in the sand. And so this is some of what they're saying, that how much the UK owes to the different nations. It says the report, which was published by the University of the West Indies after a symposium held by the American Society of International Law, concludes that the UK alone is required to pay a sum of $24 trillion. 24 trillion, or 18 trillion pounds, as reparations for transatlantic slavery in 14 countries. Of that sum, $9.6 trillion is due to Jamaica. The report uses the calculation made by the Battle Group, which favors the wealth and GDP amassed by countries that enslave African people. So $24 trillion, or 18 trillion pounds of reparation that the UK alone owes to 14 countries. So they have a lot, when we think of all the ways they've been wasting money, like on all those coronations that nobody asked for and all of that mess, they've been wasting all that money, knowing that they owe $24 trillion, or 18 trillion pounds to 14 countries, some of which they're the head of state are, and some of it are all part of the Commonwealth. So that's why a lot of times I get irritated when I see some of these Commonwealth leaders sort of like sucking up to the royal family. I'm like, these people owe you money. They not only do they owe you money, they owe you a lot of, your stolen stuff, stolen gems and diamonds and all that stuff that they stole and store away either in one of the palaces or in the museum, which, by the way, I think it was late last week, they claimed that there was a burglary in there and all of these, I guess, precious things got stolen. And I'm like, well, whoever stole it, learn from y'all, because y'all stole that stuff in the first place. It doesn't belong to you. So my thing is, I hope whoever stole it, that it, were from one of these countries or many of these countries that they stole it from, and they took their wealth, they took their stuff back to their country. So that's my thing in the whole thing, is hopefully whoever have those stolen things, that it take it back to the country for where it belongs. Because again, the UK stole that. So they have no ground or moral ground to be standing on calling anybody a thief, because they're thieves. That's how they got all that stuff. They stole them. So there you go. That's about, I have no sympathy for anyone in the royal family or museum claiming we got robbed. Yeah, y'all robbed people to get that stuff. So there you go. They learned from y'all. So there. Marjorie says, Trenchtown alone, they owe him $347 million. Wow. Yeah, the UK owe a lot of people money. I mean, right now they're going through a cost of living crisis, but that's a cost of living crisis only for poor people and middle class people. The rich are fine because they have been the one basically hoarding all that money. And so obviously, the rich get richer and the poor are just getting poorer. So that cost of living crisis, quote unquote, is only for people that are poor, that can't afford anything. I even saw a report today. I think was it the BBC or one of those, where this family, both the wife and the husband both have good jobs and still cannot afford to rent an apartment. They live in a tent. This is just like California. They live in a tent because they can't afford to, while they can, they have money for 1 month rent at a time. Apparently, in order to rent an apartment, you have to come up with 6 months of rent, because I guess landlords are not trusting that you can pay monthly. So you need 6 months of rent before they'll rent you an apartment. So people can't afford 6 months of rent. They can, they can scrape together their pennies to rent month to month, but they can't afford the 6 months. So now they're living in a tent. And apparently this has been the situation with a lot of families who have jobs, but still can't afford to live in an apartment or a house. Well, forget about buying a house. This is the same problem we've been talking about in California. Many people live in their cars because even though they have great jobs, they are priced out of the apartments. They can't afford to rent it. And so this is the same situation. So again, poor people problems, because rich people have been hoarding and taking the money, and now poor people can't afford to live. And this is kind of the situation. So while the royal family are raking in again, in the next couple of years, the sovereign grant is going to go up to 125 million pounds from the 82, 84 it is now, even though they were lying about, there's going to be a cut. Lies. It's actually going to go up. And again, you're thinking in terms of these people are taking money from taxpayers and all this money, yet you have people like William who could not even bother to do the job that they're paying him to do. So it's just, you have all this stuff where you have a royal family who basically does nothing and is really of no value. They could use that 125 million, get rid of the royal family, or let them pay for themselves if they want to go kinging and queening, take that 125 million pounds and pay down on the money you owe for reparations. This is what they need to do. And this is the very thing they're not doing. What they would rather do is spend a couple million to put up a statue for the, for the Windrush generation, or put up a statue here or whatever, but refuse to come up with that money to give it to people so that they can better their lives, which is what they should be doing. All of that money for condemnation and all of that nonsense they've been funding that nobody asked for, that money needed to have gone to pay down on this debt that they have owed to these 14 countries. And instead, the rich are just gorging themselves while they owe people money, and they still want to come to your country and, parade themselves around where countries are having to pay for them. They still want to come and claim that we have a relationship. They still want to do all of those things. Meanwhile, they owe you money. They owe us money. So I'm hoping that this judge, he seems very confident of the fact that, the UK can no longer ignore this. They can't keep burying their heads in the sand. They have to deal with the fact that they owe people money. They have to start paying it. And so we shall see. But I'm glad they're not letting go of it. The key would be to those leaders of those countries that they owe the money to stop going to the UK, stop, pretending that you're friends, and stop pretending that you're part of a commonwealth. As, the lady from the Rion broadcast the other day said, the wealth isn't common. There is no wealth in the so-called commonwealth. There is no wealth other than the UK, who they stole all of it, And so there's common poverty, but there's not common wealth. And so let's see. We shall see. We shall see. So I will keep my fingers crossed, keep Judge Patrick Robinson and his team who are going after the UK in your prayers, because they're going to need it. They are definitely going to need it. So, yep. What else is happening? Let's see. Invictus. Actually, before we even go there, I'm going to jump in the comments and see, before we move on from this, I'll jump in the comments, see what you guys are saying. And if you have any comments about this or anything else, let's see. Scrolling up for a second. Joe Nikki is agreeing with him about Invictus. Agree on Invictus. The rest are so jealous. Yes, they are. they are very jealous of Harry. Let's see. Before we get to Invictus, let's see what else we get. Let's see what Dolores is saying. Dolores says, just coming in. Oh, hey, Dolores. Harry can't trust his family. They would drug him and have Dan Wooten laying in. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a vision I do not want in my head. So thank you, Dolores Sims. I don't want that vision of Dan Wooten after all the mess Dan Wooten has been doing. Ooh, I like scrub my mind with soap. Dan Wooten is a mess. And by the way, Dan Wooten still has a job on GB News. They, obviously with the GB News owner having his own sexual assault issues there, Dan Wooten, he doesn't have a moral high ground to stand on to fire Dan Wooten. So Dan Wooten stays there with his show, attacking the Sussexes, as he does just about every night, I guess. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, Dolores, I'm coming back to you again. Dolores says, this summit there they have are probably going to be the royal family trying to get back on track with the Commonwealth nations. Okay, I'm not sure which summit you're talking about, but okay. I'm hoping, as they've been saying, that most Commonwealth countries are, they are plotting their exit of this ridiculous Commonwealth that, again, is not common. That wealth isn't. That's really like a slap in the face. Honestly, whoever came up with, oh, the Commonwealth, it is like such a slap in the face. It's not even funny. So, let's see. Marjorie Austin. Hello, Marjorie. Marjorie says, I believe Gladstone's grandson just apologized and said he was going to pay reparations, but Dan Wooten and Angela Latrine, the devil's spawn, are upset with him, saying he is setting precedents and says now it's white racism. Oh, God. Of course. Devil's children. So, okay, so this Mr. Gladstone, okay, I gotta find that story. So this Mr. Gladstone's grandson, okay, he is apologizing for I guess their connection to slavery and or the slave trade. And he is going to pay reparations. Okay, that's good. But of course, this is the thing with the UK. The right-wing UK, they, of course, are opposed to this. They are completely opposed to apologizing. Again, don't ever look for right-wing people to apologize about anything. White supremacists will not apologize for anything. They will just gaslight you and make it your problem, i.e. what they did to Harry and especially Meghan, and make it about you attacking them. And all of a sudden, you are the attacker and they are the victims. And, before you know it, they'll be calling for you to pay reparations to them. That's how they work. And so I'm not surprised to see Dan Wooten all up in this, and Angela Latrine, as Marjorie refers to her, was the devil's child herself. I am not surprised because they don't want them doing that because, again, as I said, it'll set a precedent. Why? They don't want to pay. They do not want to pay Black people the money that they owe. They don't want Black people calling out their racism. If you look at what they're doing to Dr. Shola at this present time for calling out the way the UK view people, as in that woman, the white woman who killed all those babies, and the press is basically, I think there was a segment on the BBC talking about, saying something to the effect that she doesn't look like what you expect a murderer to look like. And so the whole narrative is, if it was a Black person that was accused of the crimes that she was, accused of, and people were trying to get their bosses at their hospital to, to pay attention, to fire her, to do something about, because they suspected she was the one killing and, hurting those kids. And forever, nobody wanted to do anything. They didn't do anything. And then finally, I guess they got her out of there. And then she came back and her boss made the people, including this one brown man, apologize to her. And where they turned this murdering woman into the victim, where the doctors who are trying to blow the whistle on her became the aggressors. And she became the victim, and they literally had to apologize to her and work with her until they finally caught her. And obviously, we know now she's sentenced to life in prison. So, yeah, they don't, I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. They don't want any, they don't want to pay anything to Black. It's like, that's white supremacy there, right there. They want to abuse, they want to do all of those things, but they do not want, they don't want you calling them out. They hate that. They don't want you calling them racist. They don't want you calling them out. They don't want you bringing up the fact that you owe them nothing. You're supposed to take the abuse, take all the things that they give you, and then you're supposed to just leave them alone because it's uncomfortable for them. It's uncomfortable if they hear that their ancestors were involved in the slave trade. It's uncomfortable for them. So then, Black people should really, our lives need to be about making sure that these people are comfortable. Unbelievable. Anfu says the UK has nothing. It has slave trade that built that empire, the blood, sweat, and tears of Black slaves. Yeah. Exactly. And they don't feel any shame about that. They feel no shame. They just don't want you to bring it up. They want you to pretend it never happened. So incredible. Oh my gosh. Peddle, some of the items stolen has been reportedly been seen on eBay. Oh my gosh. eBay? That is wild. Why would you steal something from a museum and put it on eBay? Are we sure it's not like a replica of that? Well, look, I am not here to advocate for stealing, but in this case, I'm like, I have no sympathy for anybody in that museum. I have no sympathy for the royal family. I have no sympathy for the British Museum. Nothing. Again, the stuff that they have there are stolen. The majority of the stuff they have are stolen. So they don't have any moral high ground to stand on. So if they got stolen, somebody put it on eBay, good, good on the person. Hopefully they got whatever they wanted for it. Because again, in the UK, it was stolen property. My only thing was, if they are stealing it, take it back to the country that the UK stole it from. That's my own thing. I don't advocate for stealing, but in this case, I have no sympathy for anything from the royal family or the British Museum because they're thieves. So there you go. But that's funny though. They purchased it on eBay. That's wild. They put it on eBay. Oh my goodness. Do you know what it is they put on eBay? Like what exactly it is they're selling? That is very funny. That was not where I'd expect that to be. Sonia says, I don't think the UK is correct in accusing people of stealing jewels. I think they themselves have removed it so they can now pretend that it was taken so they don't have to give it back. Great point, Sonia. Great point. Apart from the people who apparently put it on eBay. But if it's not true that's on eBay, this is a fantastic point. Because they don't want to give it back, so let's pretend it's stolen so we can hide it. Will I put this past the British? No, absolutely not. They will do stuff like this. Absolutely not. So again, these people, you can't trust them. You literally can't trust them. So I don't put any of this past. Great point, Sonia. So there you go. Apart from those who put it on eBay, some of it on eBay. That's funny. Let's see. Reba says they have the nerve to accuse us of being thieves when they have stolen from the world. Exactly. I mean, 24 trillion pounds, 18 trillion pounds that they owe. And I don't even think that's probably enough. And this money is not, from a year or two. This is like for the entirety of the slave trade. This is the number that they have come up with from the entirety of the slave trade. And so, hey, I am like, y'all are thieves. Look at all the stuff you steal. None of you have the right to say anything about, if somebody steals from you, you just shut up and eat your food because you have no grounds to stand on at all. So, I Heart Sussex World. Hello, I Heart Sussex World says, hi, Petal. Love the topic. The UK, United Kingdom is spiraling down. Racism, poverty, greed. Yep, absolutely true. I mean, you could say this about the US as well, maybe to a lesser extent, but same thing happens here as well. But yeah, it is just in so many ways, it's like it's bottoming out. And so people aren't the deference. You can also see it with the royal family, that deference that people had for the monarch and the royal family when the queen was alive is no longer there. I mean, you just have to watch what, the reporting and the bashing of Prince William the last few days for being lazy and not going to the Women's World Cup. Even today, people are not giving up on it. So a while ago, people would have stopped, and the narrative, because the tabloids, when William put out the little video with Charlotte, the tabloids were like, oh, some of them were like, oh, how sweet. But the rest of the people are not buying it. So that narrative is no longer effective when it comes to William. People are not feeling him, to the point where people are calling for him to resign as FA president. They are calling, they're saying that, he wouldn't dare show up to another football game. He would be booed. I mean, they're gunning for him. So that deference that they had is no longer there. So very interesting. So they are spiraling down in a lot of ways. And you know what? This is their own doing. I mean, again, it started with that whole Brexit mess that they allowed to happen, and all of their institutions is just spiraling down. So let's say, Nalothendu, or awesome Nalothendu from South Africa, says the UK royal family are the main culprit and thieves. They must bring back our gems and stolen diamonds from those tiaras. What are they telling God when praying in church? Well, do they pray? I mean, they go, but do they? I mean, they don't. Do they know? I don't know. Do they pray? I don't know. But again, Nalothendu, even with that, I was really upset at your president when he was in the UK. I was not feeling him at all, because he was there basically grinning in Charles's face instead of being like, dude, you have our gems. We need it back. I'm not coming here and laughing and grinning in your face, and basically licking your boots while you owe us stuff. So I was when your president was here in the UK the last time, I was not happy with him. I mean, y'all can remember I kind of went off on him there, because when people like that owe you stuff, you don't go there. You want to, if you go there, you're gonna remind them. I mean, gosh, you're right there in the palace. This would be the time to be like, you know what? I am right here where my diamond is. I needed to take it back with me. You need to give it to me so I can take it home. And put him on the spot. Make sure you get your stuff and go home. So the leaders need to do a better job. Instead of going there and, being all like grateful to be in the presence of royalty, quote unquote, speak up to get your stuff, which is what I feel like he should have done when he was in the UK. Because if you remember, when the Queen died, they parked him in a bus with other, I could never get over that bus. And then all of a sudden, I'm sure Charles needed something later. He came back and the UK was like, treating him like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But then he was just sitting there grinning in Charles's face instead of speaking up. So there you go. Let's see. Classy Lacroix says, I don't know why Charles need that much money. The Queen, Philip, Harry is no longer being paid. He's just greedy. That is the bottom line. Exactly, Classy. It's just greed. This whole slim down monarchy with Charles was only greed. He gets to hoard more money. That is the whole premise of it. The tabloid press trying to sell the nonsense of, giving the impression that they want to have the slim down monarchy so it'll be less taxing on the taxpayers, which is a complete lie. If people in the UK would just pay attention, that would be really helpful to them, and not be apathetic about this. This whole slim down monarchy was just a bold-faced lie, because again, in the next couple of years, the sovereign grant is going to go up balloon from it's between 82 and 86 million pounds it is now, to 125 million. And Charles is like, they kind of try to offset it with like, oh, okay, the wind farm and all of that stuff. It's going to be a windfall of money that's coming in. So we're going to, allocate some of that to the people and all of that. I'm like, all that stuff you have is the people's stuff that you're stealing. You know what I mean? It's just like making it sound like he's doing people a favor, while on the other side, so he distract you with that nonsense. And then on the other side, they're raking stuff in privately and also taking from taxpayers who can't afford to live, who are sleeping in tents, so it's just, ooh. Anyways, moving on. Dan Wooten. Dan Wooten says the group that's around Dan Wooten, aka Martin Branning and Maria Joseph, all seem to be a special cult covering for each other. Yeah. Yes. And that's why they're not reporting it. I mean, I remember mentioning it before. Like, I simply do not believe, and I would never believe that Dan Wooten is the only person doing what he's accused of doing. I would never believe that. That the entire British, it's too much of a cesspool for me to believe that Dan Wooten was the only one doing that. And that's the reason why they're silent. They can't say anything because they are part of it. And Dan Wooten is just, nasty enough to release stuff about them. And they know it. They hate him, but they know it. They have to suck up because what he may have on them. So there. Hey, Connie Barmer, how are you? Did I see Lydia there? Did I miss Lydia? Lydia, where you be, my child? Oh, no, I don't see Lydia. But if you're here, Lydia, I'm sure I'll run into you. Let's see. Sylvia says, Petal, it's truly time for part 2 on a latrine. A latrine? Oh. This woman is sitting on TV saying she gives responses by what she thinks. So basically, she lies on Harry and Meghan, mainly Meghan, according to what she thinks. And according to Omen, the voices that are obviously in her head. Obviously. It's so funny. Like, I thought about doing it with Angela Latrine. I thought about doing a part 2 on her. But I mean, I keep knocking over my thing. But I think she is just, it's so obvious she's lying about what she's saying. She doesn't care about the fact that she's lying. She doesn't care no matter how many people call her out for following hate accounts. She literally just does not care. She knows that she gets hired to lie, and that's what she does. So the amount of time I thought about doing a part 2 on Angela Levin, and I was like, well, this is a waste of time. This is not somebody who's gonna, even if she saw this, has any inkling or any desire to change who she is or anything like that, because literally she is being paid by these news outlets to lie. So for me, I was like, okay, I think we better go after the news outlets instead of Angela, because Angela is just doing what they're paying her to do, to lie. Everybody knows she's lying. Even people who hate Harry and Meghan know she's lying, but they bring her on there to lie. And it's just like, what do you say when somebody is like that? Like her mother said, she is Satan. What do you say about Satan other than they're evil? He's evil. And that's what she is. And so it's just like, I'm like, what? She's literally doing exactly, how many reporters, Chris Boozy did a whole, his whole study, naming her specifically and all those hate accounts she followed. Scobie did a thing. There's another article, and I think it was Medium or something like that. I forgot the news outlet. They did a whole thing specifically, also part of it focusing on her and her hate, the trolls that she follows, and all the hateful things she says based on what she reads from she reads from her trolls, and she still refused to change it. People have insulted her and called her out, like her own royal reporters called her out on Sky, on what is that, Rupert Murdoch TV, that what if that station that Piers Morgan is on. But there was another news station, a news show, or not news, but a sort of like a, I don't know, talk show-ish kind of thing, and she was on there, and royal reporters like Emily Andrews literally called her out on air, and she still hasn't changed. So I don't know. She's what she is. She's not going to change because, and if I think her following is growing, because more and more hate accounts and trolls love her, and they will keep. So for her, she's getting paid to lie. She's getting paid to spread hate. She's getting paid to do all the hateful things that she's been doing. And her Twitter account is growing. So she must feel like, well, hey, why should I change? So it's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But I will think about Angela again doing another one on her, because it's amazing to me. Betty says, but if she was a black nurse from the first complaint, she would have been suspended. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Femi, who is one of those political let's say commentators on social media and on television, and Dr. Shola has been calling out this very thing. Of course, they've been attacked all morning, but people claiming that, oh, she's a race baither and all of that stuff. But this was one of their points. you know Even if there was no lack of if there's a lack of evidence, she would still get investigated. This woman, there's all this evidence that she did this stuff, and they're just the executives at her hospital and whatever. They refuse to do anything. Why? Specifically, she's a white woman. She could do the white woman sees, and they'll believe her. They will believe, even with evidence, they believed her, to the point where, again, the doctors who accused her were made to apologize to her. And now, instead of really going after her, I mean, she's sentenced to life now. But if you look at one of the things Shola and others were posting was screenshots of the Daily Mail. Of her, pictures of her as a little girl looking very innocent, pictures of her in a graduation cap, talking about how her parents love her. And, it's sad that, with all the love, she turned now into a murderer. But all of those, I mean, articles upon articles upon articles like that, put there for sympathy. Why? Because as the BBC program claims, she doesn't look like the typical murderer. But let that be a 14-year-old black girl and see what the narrative would be. I'm not even saying a woman. Let that be a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old black girl and see what the narrative would be. It definitely would not be this that they're doing. And so if you were to ask these people who are attacking Shola and those guys, this is not about her. This is a race baiting. You're just wanting to stir up race hate in our country. And it's real. It's amazing. Let's see. Sonia says, well, they're saying that when a thief steals from a thief, God smiles. God is laughing all the way to the bank. Well, there you go. Because it's funny. You stole and somebody stole it back. So there you go. It is funny. Although I'm sure they don't feel that way, but there you go. Nolatan says they can keep their fake apology. Just bring back what they stole from Africa. There you go. Give us the money and the stuff you stole. There you go. Let's see. Karen Werner, on another angle, she says, and William and Kate are stealing people's ideas today. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. That Earthshot mess, of course, we talked about that numerous times. That originated with Ignace Schultz, the Belgium environmentalist, that William took. And all of a sudden, it is all William. Now he's going to Boston so he can hang out with the Kennedys and all that mess. And it's like, dude, this was not your idea. Maybe in the way he's doing it is, his idea, but the idea of Earthshot was not his. So, and of course, we know Kate with their early years. If you talk to Kate, she created early years. It's never been talked about before she existed and talked about it. And of course, all these studies that she's claiming has been there for years, and people are just looking for money. And she's now coming to claim like, oh, because she talks about early years, now the world is going to be educated about Earth. And it's just like, girl, please. Let's see. Reba says the UK, Portugal, and Spain and France are the big four who hoarded wealth from slavery. Yes, 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 yes. Apparently, there are some countries that are still paying France hefty amount of money. I mean, and I still have to go in to understand what that whole big thing is. But it's like, why are you are a colony and you're paying them money? Like, I don't even understand what that's about. So I can go in and read up on that. I just happened to see a little thing on it. So yeah. Let's see. What else you all saying? Nolathandu says the seed of a thief, Willie, had the audacity to judge Africans about how they should avoid population growth. This is such a, when that whole thing came out with population growth and all of that stuff, and what, someone mentioned the other day that I think the entire population of Africa, the continent of Africa, is less than I think it's less than China. And I have to go back and read the whole article so that I understand fully what they're saying. But the point of it, when people are saying, like, in Africa there needs to be population control and all of that stuff, what it is they want to do is hold down population so that they can go in and capture the land, which is what they're trying to do, especially which is why I hate any form of so-called conservation in Africa and in African countries, because there's a lot of rich white people going in, taking up land, and then basically a lot of times borrowing the community around that land so they can have their rich friends come in for their quote unquote safari visits. And so this is what it's about. They're trying to get the people down so that so you have this vast amount of land that they can go in and basically take. And so it's the modern day colonialism is what it is. And so, but I have to go in and read the article so I can understand fully what they meant. But I think that was the gist of what I got out of it. Joe Nicky says Willie is getting slammed because of his hate campaign. He allowed the press to cross a boundary of disrespect to the royal family. Yes. And when you don't feed these people that you've allowed this, they will turn on you. And that is what they have. They don't have the Sussex content that they thought they were going to have. They don't have all that nonsense that they were trying to attack the Sussexes on. None of it is coming to fruition, and they need to make money. So hence, turning on William. There you go. You create the animal, you don't feed them, they'll turn on you. There you go. Connie says, Petal, that's why her mother said Angela Levin is the devil. Yes. And boy, I'm telling you, her mother was a prophet, man. I don't know if she went to her grave knowing that, but lady, you are a prophet. She just named her daughter. Unbelievable. Let's see. Michelle says, Paul, do you believe things will get better in the UK media in that the corruption will ever get stamped out? Evil has been around for centuries, but even it has a shelf life. No, not. I mean, I would love to believe that it will get better, especially in the UK media, but not with the government, not with the Tories, and not with the current. Not with the current Labour Party leader. He is Tory part 2. There might be things that might change, that might be a little different from how the Tory did it. But Keir Starmer, for me, again, he was one of the people at Rupert Murdoch's party, hanging out with a bunch of those Tories and all of that stuff. He's just one of them. He's also a royalist. And so nothing is going to change in terms of the media. So even if they kick out the Tories, it's going to stay exactly as it is and get worse, unfortunately. Unless they kick him out and get someone who has a conviction like a Prince Harry or the guys at Byline Times. Unless you have people with that kind of conviction, the media stays as is and gets worse. It's just what it is. Because Keir Starmer is not going to do anything. Not in terms of that. This man is, he was at Rupert Murdoch's stable. So there you go. That's all you need to know about that in that situation, unfortunately. So I remember when that happened, when that lunch or dinner, whatever it is, I think it was a lunch thing that they had. I think it was Hugh Grant who tweeted how unfortunate that was. He couldn't believe that Keir Starmer was there, because I think a lot of people have put hope in Keir Starmer that he would come in and then, they would start to work to get, Leveson Part 2 done, to get press reform and all. No, that's not happening. Not with Keir Starmer in there. That is not happening. So, yeah, that was very, very disappointing to say. But, it's good that, people see it now. But can they get rid of him and get somebody else to be leading? I don't know how you get rid of somebody like that who's the head of the Labor Party. I don't know the politics behind that. But yeah, unless they have somebody else leading the Labor Party, it will be just the same. I don't believe anything will be different. And also, in terms of not just the media, in terms of racism and all of that stuff, it's just the same. Because so many MPs from the Labor Department, the Labor, not department, but the Labor Party, including, what's her name, Dawn, I always forget her last name, but she's an MP. She could talk to all the racism she has experienced within the Labor Party. So it just, yeah, it is the same. It is the absolute same. They have we hate Black people in common. So anyway, let's see what else I got. Just kind of went off there on a tangent. I'm sorry. What else we have? Invictus games. The thing I love about Invictus is that all of the different areas and all the different things that is a part of the games. So Invictus Dusseldorf posted, it says, recently Tom Fielder had the chance to represent his graphic novel Becoming Invictus to the public in Dusseldorf. The novel, supported by the Fisher House Foundation, tells the story of how Invictus Games came to Germany and how Tom himself had to learn what it is all about. He gets to know soldiers during their recovery, physicians, psychiatrists, caregivers tell their story and insights and how it affected him personally. So that's Tom there with the shaved hair, and so that's his graphic novel, and I guess it's like on a board, so maybe they'll have it there during the games. But I just love how they have all of these different things that they come up with where people can express themselves. He is learning about Invictus Games and all of the people that are involved and the professions that are involved in getting it all together and getting it there. And so it is, I love this about Invictus. I absolutely love this, that they have all of these ways that people could, that people could express themselves. And also the Fisher House Foundation, which obviously we know they are also also partners and sponsors of the games. They are the ones that have the homes. They build homes for vets. So if, for example, anywhere there is a veteran hospital, they build a home there. So the vet, anyone who a vet who is at the hospital, they can have their family members stay at that house instead of having to trek from wherever they live, which is usually far. They can live at that house while they take care of their family member in the hospital. And so they get to build communities. They build beautiful homes all around, and that's close to, and they build it close to the veterans hospital so the families can live there and be there and take care of their loved one, and also build relationships with other vet families that are there as well. So they're all about the family unit for the vets. So it's a wonderful foundation, and it's so great that they are a part of it, and they have a great relationship with Prince Harry. This is also Trish Strobe. She is also with the Fisher House Foundation. She put like the family programs and stuff like that together. And so they were interviewing her, and this is a little bit about that interview. She says, Trish Tropes of the Fisher House Foundation, she says, for me, respect is holding space for others and meeting them where they are at that time. We're all going through a lot of things in our lives. You may be having a hard day, and I don't know why, but allowing you to be present and to share with you, that is what respect is all about. And so, you can respond. Do you agree? So for her, that is what respect is meeting others where they are, holding space for them, and that's kind of where she is. And that's what she does with the Fisher House Foundation, really making space for the families and meeting them where they are, meeting that need. Because again, when you have somebody in the hospital, that's a need, and you want to be able to be as close to them as possible if you can't stay in the hospital, and having that home close by meets that needs in a huge way. And that's what she does with the Fisher House Foundation. So it is really great to see the relationships that are built. And again, Prince Harry and Ken Fisher, whose family's foundation this is, have an incredible relationship. We saw Harry do it when they did the sort of the conference thing with other vets and the vice and the first lady, and also Ken Fisher was at the Intrepid with Harry when he did presented the awards to the soldiers, the vets with invisible wounds. Ken Fisher is also one of the officials of the Intrepid Museum. So it's, they have ties all over, and I just love the relationship they have with Harry and Invictus. So anyways, this is so wonderful. Just to go away from Invictus for a second, we'll come back to it in a bit. I'm just gonna move my little scrolly bar at the bottom there. Again, if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and click the notification bell so you know when we drop a video. And please like and share this video. So we'll try to remember to bring it back at the end. But this is so cool. The World Championships are going on right now, and so Tara, this wonderful, and she's like, oh, she's such a lovely. It's like seems like such a lovely lady. She won. She competed in the long jump, and so she won a silver medal. And so it's funny because, and I didn't remember, for some reason I thought her face looked familiar. I couldn't remember, but then Squatties, of course, Squatties reminded us all that we know who this girl is. Why? Because Meghan and Harry introduced us to them. She and her husband, Hunter Woodhall, her name is Tara. She actually goes by Tara Davis Woodhall. And so she and her husband were part of, Oswald had, like last year, they were doing these stories that they were doing. So they featured Tara and her husband because she was at the Olympics and all of that stuff. And so they featured both of them because she does, the long jump, and he is also part of the Paralympics. He lost both of his legs, so he competes in the Paralympic Games. And so it is just really wonderful. That's them at the bottom on the left there. Yesterday, I think, is when she won her silver medal. Again, the World Championships are going on right now. And so she won the silver medal. And so that's them at the bottom there, celebrating at the stadium, celebrating her silver medal. And it's like, oh, look at her crying. It's like so happy. But Archwell did the Olympic love story, was 2022, or 2021, something like that, when they posted this. And this is what Archwell said about them. It says, this summer, when NCAA long jumper Tara Davis qualified for the Olympics at the U.S. track and field trials, her most viewed celebration with boyfriend at the time, Hunter Woodhall, sent smiles around the world. Woodhall, a silver and bronze Paralympic medalist, is also heading to Tokyo, and the sight of the pair reveling in each other's success was a reminder of the joy to be found in the sports. And that is them at the top right there on Archwell. So I was just like, Harry and Meghan, they're so ahead of the game. But it's just such a wonderful story. Again, he competes at the Paralympic Games, and she obviously competes at the regular Olympic. And it's really wonderful. I should have brought in the other picture where you see them. I think when she was just running over to him to hug him, in the stands. But it's such a wonderful story. So I'm going to post the link in the show notes. So if you want to read their story on Archwell, you could definitely read it. But it's just great that, that Harry and Meghan got them there. And so, yeah, but again, that's how I didn't know anything. I'd never heard of her before or him before until Archwell posted that there a couple of years ago. So yeah, Archwell, and congratulations, Tara. Black girl magic. And talk about black girl magic. I am telling you, I am so proud of this girl. And I don't know if you guys were, have been paying attention to the World Championships that's going on right now, but it is amazing. Miss Sha'Carri Richardson, I am telling you, this girl, I don't know if you followed up with her story. I think the last Olympics, she was really talked about. She was the one to beat and all of that stuff. And then after, I think it was the trials or something like that, she I think she qualified to go to the Olympics, and then she got tagged with because she had, I guess, smoked weed or something. I think her mom passed away and she was going through a rough time. She had just found out, and she smoked weed, I guess she said, to calm down and all of that stuff, but that's against the rules apparently. And they banned her. She could not go to the Olympics, so she missed the Olympics. It became a big thing. It was so heartbreaking for her because she qualified, was so excited to go, and then that happened. And so, it was bad at first, then she apologized about it, and then she really spiraled, in the sense that people just went on an attacking spree. You know how people are, especially on the internet. And she was on the internet, I think she was on Twitter as well, and she was trying to fight it, and people would just at her over. I mean, this girl just got pummeled in so many ways, and people took pains to try to humiliate her. And it was just like, this is a young girl. Why y'all trying to destroy the child? And so she basically, after that whole thing happened, I guess, when stuff like happen, you lose your confidence a little bit, and then your result starts to suffer. And the top picture is the 2021 World Championship. She came in last. And that's her. The two, I think that's Sharika Jackson in the front there. Two Jamaican runners there. Obviously winning the race and stuff like that. And that is Sha'Carri. She placed last, and she was mocked relentlessly especially Twitter. It was awful. People went out of their way to mock her, and to say all kinds of ways to try to humiliate her. And this girl then went, she just went into a zone. I'm not sure if she changed coaches or what, but she just went into a zone, put all of that stuff aside, was able to start focusing, start training, then she started running, and then she started winning some, then she would lose some, then she would win. And lo and behold, until yesterday, this girl is now the fastest woman in the world. She won, beating, amazingly enough, the two women who are the fastest in the world, and the two Jamaican, Sharika Jackson and what's her name? I always forget her name. Shelly Ann Fraser Price. That's them. And so this is so for her to be able to beat these two who have been winning everything, including the Olympics and everything that they have been winning, and to see little Sha'Carri come in and beat both of them and become the world champion yesterday, and now she is the fastest woman in the world in the 100-meter final. I mean, it is just the most amazing thing to see, and it's so funny because it's like she couldn't believe she did it after all the trauma of what people did to her. Some of the she also has a mouth on her, so some of it she was trying to fight back, and all such a drama, including there were these controversies with these same athletes and others from the Jamaican team, and there was all this thing about Jamaica against Americans, and it was just all this drama happening. And to see her and the Sharika and also Shelly Ann all be able to put that aside, and I think everybody has grown since then, and developed, even look like they're friends, but at least have a respect. Like, they don't hate each other. They just definitely respect each other as competitors. And, but just to see how they were able to embrace her yesterday was the most amazing and beautiful thing. It just did your heart proud, because for so long, Sha'Carri felt like Sha'Carri was on the outside and she wasn't welcomed in. And for the first time, I don't know, because I wasn't following all the way, all their meets and all of that stuff, but it just felt like, wow, they embraced her and they welcomed her in their group. And it was so wonderful to see the relationship build yesterday. Like, I almost cried watching it, and that's them taking pictures and hugging. And it was just like they did a press conference together and everything. And I was like, Thank you, Sharika. Thank you, Shelly Ann, for embracing a sister. I know you're from different countries and you're competing, but it just was so wonderful. And it just flies in the face and flies in the face of, especially Black women going after each other and fighting each other and all of that stuff. It just squashed that. And it just, so many people were talking about that specific thing. And these pictures, they're taking selfies together and just, it was just wonderful to see the rapport between them. And I was like, thank you, Sharika. Thank you, Shelly Ann, for embracing Sha'Carri, having, it's like she has big sisters. And even though they're competing for different countries, it's so wonderful to see these Black women embrace each other like this. And it's just wonderful. And, obviously, Sharika, I think, got the silver, and I think Shelly Ann got the bronze. And it just, thank you. And our Jamaican peeps. And, for me, it's all Black girl magic. But it's, Black girl magic with a little bit of extra. And so I just really, really, really enjoy that. Terry says, Sha'Carri went through hell and back. She persevered and now back on top. Congratulations. Here, absolutely perfectly sad. Absolutely perfectly sad to see what she went through and to see. It's so funny watching her jump around. You can see the little girl who was hoping and dreaming all her life. It's like she became this little girl again. She stripped away all of the long nails, the fake hair, or the fake wig thing that she wears, and the long nails and all of that crazy stuff. She stripped all of those things away, and all you saw, and you can see in the picture, is it doesn't even look like she's wearing makeup. It's like she's just simply Sha'Carri, no nails, no nothing, and her beautiful self just shining through. And I was like, yes! I'm just so proud of her. I am so proud of this girl. And I was like, you go. What an example for others to see, and thank you again to these beautiful queens from Jamaica, Sharika and Shelly Ann. You are queens with a Z. Bernie says, well, Petal, when she lost the Jamaican ladies in an interview, Sha'Carri was very disrespectful in her speech to the Jamaican. She was ghetto. She has a mouth. She had a mouth. I think she has changed because her attitude is very changed, because she talked about how, about definitely, I think, respecting Sharika and Shelly Ann yesterday. She's grown up. She was a girl who, she was what she was. She was a young girl. She had a mouth. She definitely had a mouth on her. So she was definitely fighting back on Twitter and all of that stuff. But she's grown now. She's a young lady. And I think she's grown in her attitude, in her thinking, in her thought, how to process things and how to, respond to things. And, look, we start from where we start and then you grow. And so for me, it's beautiful to see. It's beautiful because a few years ago when she was losing, this wasn't the relationship you saw. There was a lot of bickering going back and forth. You did not see this. And so I think every single one of them has grown in the way they view each other and in the way they view competing against each other, and to see that, we're not enemies, we are competitors, we're competing against each other, but we're not enemies. So it's beautiful. I think, amen for growth, right? So, Yulimi says some people are now quiet or acting like they never said anything. Evil people. Yes. I'm not sure which one of the people you're mentioning, but yes. Sonia says, Sha'Carri rubbed me the wrong way with her unwarranted remarks about Jamaica last time, and I was not having none of it. But she is to be congratulated on her win. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. She rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, in a lot of things. And probably because I teach and, I've been around, even though, at the time when this was happening, I didn't teach teenagers then, but I'd been around them enough to know and to recognize the patterns of when a teenager is hurt and when they are angry and there are parts of them that are not met, their needs there that met. There's a time, she had also just lost her mother, and she has, um, then her big dream was, all of a sudden taken away due to the trying to cope with the death, which was told to her in the most, unconscionable way, and there was a lot to deal with on a world stage with the press in front of your face, and people coming at you. So for me, as an adult, that would be hard for me to deal with. And I did, and you're right, to be honest, she didn't deal with it well. But then again, I had to look at her age, and in that situation, how would I deal with those things? And then on top of that, you're dealing with people you're competing with on top of all of that, And then she also talked later about being at the time in an abusive relationship. So that's a lot to process for this young girl, And so for me, I had to take all of that stuff into consideration and be like, you know what, let's just leave this girl alone. Let her just grow up. Let her just grow into who she is and find her peace so that and it seems, I'm sure not everything is perfect, but she's grown so much from, hello, she's grown so much from what she was a couple of years ago. So whoever it is that she has in her life now, whether it's coach or a different group of people around her, they seem to have helped her to grow. So for me, that's how I look at it. And again, when all that stuff is, I have to just see like, okay, this is a young girl that just needs to grow. So, and I'm glad I didn't, I'm glad I left it at that, and so I can now appreciate the growth that I see. So yeah. Bernie so says that she has matured quite a bit. Yeah. Oh my goodness, leaps and bounds. So again, whoever is around her that's that she's influenced by and is helping her, they're doing a great job so far. So yeah. Bernice also says, yes, those Jamaican women taught her some class. You lose gracefully without trashing your opponents, who are, by the way, legends. Congrats to get. Yeah, exactly. The two women, and she basically, referred to just some similar to that yesterday, Sha'Carri. That, yeah, Sharika and Sherry-Ann, they are legends. Goodness. Sherry-Ann, that's the one in the front, just in case you don't know, and Sharika is the one in the back in the red hair. Shelly-Ann, is now the most decorated Olympian in Jamaica. She has more medals now than Usain Bolt. So she's the most decorated person in terms of medals in Jamaica. So kudos to Shelly-Ann. I don't know how close Sharika is, but Shelly-Ann definitely is. She now has, because if, the lead up to this race is like, if she won the next medal, she would be the most decorated. She would pass Usain Bolt, and now she has. So kudos, Shelly-Ann. Very proud of her. I love them. I love Jamaica. I love our Jamaican sisters. I love them. So let's see what else is happening. Let's see. More commands. Okay. What else is happening? Back to Olympics. I'm sorry, Olympics. Back to Invictus. They posted this yesterday. Soon. Oh, see you soon in Dusseldorf. And of course, the 9th to the 16th of September. And of course, we know this is Gabe. Gabe is also going to be in the Invictus documentary and the Heart of Invictus. And it's so funny when we saw them. That's a picture of him and Harry at the Invictus Games. We've seen pictures of our own Karen has shown us pictures of them, and also Peace has also showed us a picture of them when she was on last year. And I love this picture. Who knew? None of us knew that he was in the Heart of Invictus. And so him and Harry chatting. And so, I'm assuming Gabe is also going to be competing this year as well. He obviously competed at The Hague last year, so I'm assuming he's going to be there as well. So they're excited about Gabe. We're excited about Gabe. And yeah, very, very, very excited about the Invictus Games and the Heart of Invictus. Man, I am so excited. So in the meantime, oh yes, in the meantime, I started watching Suits. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stay in the family. And also one of our squaddies was like, in the meantime, in the lead up, while we await, the Heart of Invictus, we could also watch Live to Lead. So there you go, and immerse ourselves in everything, all content, Harry and Meghan. So and Archwell. So there you go. Very, very exciting. So I think that's all I got. Yep, that is all I got. Well, before we even get to our moderators, let me just see who else is chatting, get a couple more, and then we will say call that a day. Let's see. Hmm. Educate You says, when you know better, you do better, and everyone grows. The sisters from Jamaica are more forgiven than people who hold on Twitter. I'm not sure I quite understand, but yes, I totally understand. When you know better, you do better, and so she knows better now. She's older now, and by a couple of years, and so she is doing better. So there you go, and definitely queens are seem to be helping her, so that's great. And welcoming and embracing her, I think, has been really helpful to her, so she doesn't feel like such an outsider. I Heart Sussex World says, thank you, Petal. Shikari took her time, stayed quiet. She thanked the other ladies and said she won because of them. She's young. She's still working on herself, and I admire her. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because it's like, now that 2 years later, she really sees it. And I think that time, and you're so right to pointing out that after that whole drama, she literally just got quiet. She stopped talking. I don't even know if she's still on social media, on Twitter. I haven't checked. But she literally got quiet. You didn't hear from her. And she just focused on training and getting better and better and better and, working on herself. And you can see the results now. She's world champion and is, in a better place mentally. And yeah, I love this. I love the growth. So let's see. Yalibi, hello, Yalibi. Yalibi she's talking to Yasmin. She says William has to get a grip with real life. He need to center himself, or he will lose quite a lot. Oh no. If he wanted, he always centers himself, and that's his trouble. So I don't know about that, Yalibi, but we'll see. Yalibi also says, well, he's already lost one person. The one person he has left on this earth. Fool. William is William. Yeah. What else can you say about William? So yeah. Reba says her big sister Jamaica sisters helped her in many ways to recover and compete. Yeah, there you go. And that's the kind of feel that it had. It felt like they were taking care of their little sister. And that's what came across. It seemed like, and she is like, she looks up to them, and they're taking care of her and embracing her. And I mean, it just, for me, it was very, very touching to say, so yeah. Phil Joy says, has anyone ever listened to the Invictus anthem? It is beautiful to listen to. There you go. You know what? I can't say that I actually have. So I need to go and pay, and I know it's there and it plays, but I never really paid attention. So, or, give it all my attention, I should say. So thank you for that challenge. I should go and listen to the Invictus anthem. So thank you. Let's see. Well, hello, Marvin. Good afternoon to you, too. I'm happy you're here. Matisha says, when people lash out in that manner, they're going through something. Yep. Not everyone know how to be mature. Even most adults, 23-year-old, let's show her some grace. Those women are fast. Yes. And that's, especially people that young. I mean, even though, they are like 20, 21, 22, 23. I always think of them as just older teenagers. They're still in that teenage mindset where everything is, a lot of who they are is about their feelings. And that is the overriding thing. They have not yet mastered their emotion to where they're okay. I know I feel this, but I don't have to act what I feel. I don't have to act according to it. I could still stop and make a right decision, or an intelligent decision, or maybe just walk away and not react. They haven't mastered those things as yet. So for me, even like up until like 25, I still give grace, because it's still that mentality of they just, I look at it a lot of times, it's like, okay, they are adults, they're technically adults, but the mindset has not developed yet where they have mastered their emotions. That's not for everybody. There are some people that have mastered this in the teens, so that's not for everyone. But there are a lot enough that I've seen that's why for me I was like, grace. Grace. And I say that because I was one of those. I was one of those people who's very emotional, and my emotions are all over the place. And it wasn't until I turned 28 that I really feel like I started to get a grip on my emotions and not let it lead everything that I do, and don't just react to things. And so again, for me, it took until I was 28, and I remember very clearly being able to calm myself down and not react to things. And so yeah, so that's why for me, I'm like, I remember who I was, so I give grace in that age. Now, when you're older, it's like, okay, let's talk. We need to talk about your emotions here. So yeah, let's see. Let's do one more. And bye, Joyce. Let's see Joyce saying bye. Anyway, I guess that's it, guys. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia Church Nelly, Karen M, Cookies and Cream. I don't think everybody was here today. Black Queen was definitely here. Thank you all so much for hanging out and chatting with me. Not a whole lot of Sussex news, but we just love the fact that they are, doing whatever they're doing under a tree somewhere in Montecito, in their home, at least in Montecito. So, but thank you guys so much. Thank you to all of our wonderful 2 Cents crew who support the channel monthly. I appreciate all of you so much. And also to those of you who support in the chat. Oh my goodness. I think I saw something in the chat, and I think I forgot to even acknowledge it. Oh goodness. Let me see if I can scroll up quickly and see who it is. Oh my goodness. I will get it for the next time if I don't find it. So anyways, thank you guys so much. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, enjoy Baron and Duchess of Success. And I will catch you all tomorrow. Love you all. Bye.